Hello everyone, welcome once again to another Power BI related tutorial by Slidescope's team. And here we are doing MS Dhoni's stats analysis. So the data set that we have got contains data of ODI test and T20 matches records of MS Dhoni. And on the basis of that file, we will try to create this dashboard where we will create ODI strike rate, test strike rate, T20 strike rate, count of matches by type, top 10 oppositions by runs, runs by year, runs by position. We will also see how many total ODI runs are there, test runs are there, T20 runs are there, how many fours, sixes, and not outs he has. We will also create these interactive filters to see his yearly performance. If you want to see performance against any opposition like England, so you can see that also. So this is something that you are going to learn in this chapter. So to get started with Power BI and analyzing MS Dhoni dataset, we will simply connect the dataset, and in the dataset we will simply read the file. We have a table, so we will simply read it. We'll provide this Excel file to you, and this is going to read these two tables for us. And obviously the data that we need is inside the table, so we can simply delete this from model. So now in our table one, we will simply rename it as MSD. First thing that we are going to do is name our dashboard. So to name our dashboard, we will simply use a text box and simply call it MS Dhoni Stats Analysis, and we will simply resize it to full width, resize it in center, make it bold, use a light color for it, and for this text box in the effects in we will enable background color as, let's say, this color or whatever color you want to choose. For example, let's select this color, increase the size to 24, and this will be MS Dhoni stats analysis, and you can choose any font of our choice. So this is our simple text box. If you want to enable, you can enable shadow here. This is totally optional. Now we will use image. So in the Wikimedia Commons website, we have this image. We are going to use it in the dashboard. To use the image, we simply have to go to image here and go to insert an image, and this will bring the image for us. So we will simply resize the image and use it in one side. For your image, you can also go to style and scaling, you can fit or you can use fill. So this way your image will be created like that. In your image also, you can go to general effects, enable some simple background and use the same background here. Now to display his name, we will simply use text box and just use his full name, Mahendra Dhoni. Everyone knows that. Just align it to center, and we will just position this text box just below his image, and here we are going to increase its size a little bit and make the font also. So let's increase up to 80. So it will be like that, or try 16. We just want to fit the image width here. So we'll fit image width. Obviously later we can do different type of styling here, but we'll just enable a simple shadow here also. And since we have enabled shadow, we'll just reduce the size. So this is his name. Now we will bring his stats. So in the data set, we have runs here. Like in most of the matches, he did not bat, and in other matches, we have runs, opposition, ground, date, innings, position. So let's try to create some cards here. So in your card visuals, what you can do, let's say we have enabled a card visual here. So in our card visual, we can bring first of all total runs. So from here, we will drag runs in the field, and it is showing first runs. And here it is showing runs because that column is being read as a string column, right? The format is text. So first we have to clean this data. Whenever DNB is written, so obviously it did not bat, but we have to take a column where we have all the valid run score values. So we will say we'll try a very simple thing first. If it works, then very good. Otherwise, we'll try something different. So go to transform. That will bring Power Query editor for you. And in transform, what we are going to do, we will simply make a copy of this column. Okay. So we will simply right click and try duplicate. So now this is runs copy. We will call it for runs or whatever, runs new, so that we know that this is not the actual value but a cleaned value. Okay. Here when you will go right click here, you have type. So let's try change type as whole number. So here you can see we have one issue. We have various errors. Okay. So before that, what we can do, because DNB is also 0 runs, obviously we will remove them, but uh, first we are going to replace values here. So when it is a text column, we will replace the values. We'll replace DNB with 0, because in case of DNB, we will have the 0 value. Okay. And then this will simply create this column. We will close and apply. And now we will bring runs new here. So in the field, instead of that, we will bring runs new. And we forgot to do one more thing here. So we will simply go to home tab, transform tab again. We just have to change its data type now after replacing it. So right click here, change type, change it to whole number, and close and apply. Now after doing that, we have runs new, and in total you can see he has 17,000 runs, and this is across all formats. Okay. So first of all, we will uh, style this visual. So we will go to effects. As we are doing, just enable shadow, visual border, color, radius 12 pixel, and here we are going to disable the callout label. Value we are going to keep like 32, because we have to bring many other values here. So 17,000. Okay. First title, we are going to enable title and call ODI runs. Okay. Now in when we are enabling this title, we will make the title bold. Again, use the same font color here. Runs and align it to center. Just increase its height. So this is ODI runs, but actually it is showing 17,000, right? So let's do it 36, 17K. First thing, if you want to show the exact number, you can just select none. So you will have the exact value 17,226. Now, when you have selected the visual, we will add the filter here, and the filter will be match type. So we will simply add match type filter here and select ODI. So this is his ODI runs. You can verify later from official websites also, but I remember this is the ODI run. And similarly, we will make 3 copies. Okay. Here we will write test runs, and now you know what you have to do for test runs. Like select this match type, you have to just select as test. Okay. Test runs 4876. I have to confirm this. So on ESPN info website, it is showing 4876 for ODIs 10773. So it looks correct. And here we have to write T20 runs. Okay. So we will just go there and write T20 runs. Again, if you think any data is misrepresented here, please let us know and we will try to correct it. T20 runs, we will simply select T20. This way, by using these type of filters, you can display these visuals and this will display the data correctly. Okay. Similarly, we will simply copy it and try to find out his strike rate for different type of matches. So first I will resize it. For strike rate, obviously it is number of runs scored per 100 balls faced, right? So instead of sum of strike rate, we will choose average. We also did in one more example previously for Virat Kohli data set. Here we have T20 runs, and this we will simply call as strike rate. Obviously, this strike rate is across all formats. So if you want to create, as you have created ODI runs, test runs, T20 runs, so you can also create something like ODI strike rate, test strike rate, T20 strike rate. And one more thing, here you can see match type is actually selected as T20. So overall strike rate is 73.81. So what we are going to do, we will just create 3 copies of it. Okay. Again, copy paste so that we don't have to use filters separately, and we will use something like this. Here, select the visual. This is average of strike rate and match type ODI. Here we'll bring strike rate. So match type will be test. Here we will bring strike rate, match type, and here we are going to select T20 and just rename for different visuals. This strike rate data seems wrong to me. Obviously, uh, in ODI and T20. So let's try to investigate what may be the problem. And what I think the problem is, for example, where his this dismissal is DNB, do not bat, or while in runs also. So those values are also counted to calculate the strike rate. So first we have to omit those cases where he did not bat. Okay. So to do that in a strike rate case, because we are calculating average, let's try to bring another filter here, and that filter will be runs. We will select none So we'll select all but DNB. So it gives us a strike rate of 87.94. This is one thing. Obviously, we also have dismissal. In dismissal, we have different values. So we can also use dismissal. Okay, you can either use runs here or the dismissal here. And we will select everything but DNB. So 87.94. Here also match type is test. Dismissal is all but DNB. And here also match type is T20 because his test strike rate is around 126 something. So match, not sorry, dismissal and 132. Again, these stats are as per the data set that we have got from Kaggle. This is the source here. So not too much information is given here. And we will try to collect the recent data, but this is the way you are going to analyze finally. So as per the original stats, it is pretty much close. In original final data set, it is in T20 around 126. So maybe this data is older. So there may be matches after he played after that data set. So maybe the case. So this is the way you can calculate ODI runs, test runs, and T20 runs, and strike rate. And I still think this is a wrong calculation. Yes, we are applying dismissal kind and filters and all. So what we will try to do, let's try to create a measure using DAX. Okay, so go to modeling, create a new measure. We'll call it cal SR, calculated SR or strike rate. When you are creating a DAX measure, first you have to use an aggregate value. So we will use sum of BF, which is the total balls he faced. Okay, and sum of runs new, because in runs new we have the total runs and we know that these runs are correct. Okay, so this is sum of total runs divided by sum of balls faced, and average strike rate or strike rate is always in percentage, right? So into 100. So we will calculate this. So now we have a calculated field. Let's copy this field here, and this is a good example. Like if your correct value is not matching, you can always look for ways to try and find correct answers. Now let's try to bring this field here, and you can see the small difference, 87.56. This is ODI strike rate, right? ODI strike rate. So we will replace it here, and we can also confirm it from the official website or from ESPN info, not official, but yes, more authoritative website. In ODI, strike rate is 87.56. In T20s, 126.13. In test, 59.11. So now we will use the same thing, and here we will just replace the field with cal SR 59.11 and 126 it will come. So we will simply bring it here 126.13. So now we have the ODI runs, ODI strike rate, test runs, test strike rate, and T20 runs and strike rate. Now after finding out runs and strike rate, we can also try to find out fours and sixes. Like how many fours and sixes has he hit? Okay. So for that, first we should look at the column. So here you can see if there, if while batting in a match, okay, first let's sort in descending order. So in this match he hit 24 fours and 6 sixes. Okay, so this is what given as a number here. Runs he scored 224 and it was a test match. So in Chennai, okay. So now what we can do, is, we can just use some property to find these values, and we will simply use multi-row card here. A multi-row card can be used to obviously create multiple rows, and in multiple rows we can bring different fields. So first bring fours and sixes. Okay, instead of sum of fours we will simply write fours. So rename fours, and here we will write rename for this visual as sixes. Okay, and we have fours and sixes. So in total he has hit 1486 fours, 359 sixes. This is across all formats. Okay, we can go to visual and we can enable a bigger font here, make it bold, particularly these values, and use a different color. And for our labels also, we can just increase the font and choose a slightly lighter color and bold font. Put more lighter, yeah. This is 4086 fours, 359 sixes. And if you want to, you know, create it for ODIs, test and T20, so we can simply copy them, and here also we can apply the same type of filter. So here match type ODI, match type test, match type T20. Here in your multi card visual, you can go to general, enable a title, and just write something like ODI so that it is visual to users, like what we are doing, like for what we are showing is stats here, right? This is ODI stats, test stats, and T20. So in test 78 544, 78 544. Okay. Next, we will learn how to find out not out. Like how many times has he been not out in different formats. See, one obvious way to tell that is by just using this as a filter. But we are learning things here. The main purpose of this to analyze real data as well as learn Power BI, learn DAX and different type of operations. So here, if we apply a filter with DAX that dismissal type is not out, count those values. Count those values where the dismissal type is not out, simply, right? So for doing that, we'll create a new measure here, and we will simply call it not out count or something like that. Okay, and we have to use count. So filter, in your filter it will ask for table and filter expression. So the best type of thing here will be, best function here will be calculate. In calculate you have to put some expression and a filter. Okay, so expression will be with some aggregate function. So we have to count MSD index. Index is a unique value of each row. So count MSD index means count of rows, right? And what is your filter? MSD is a table name here. So MSD dismissal equal to not out. Okay. When you will do that, let's see. So it will create that. Now in the multi-row card here, let's bring not out here. It is showing 84 not out, and here ODI 84 not out. Okay. And similarly, we will copy it for different values. So first of all, I am going to reduce the callout value to 15 or 14 so that it fits the height. Here also 84 not out, same 16 not out. Okay, and here 42 not out in T20, which is impressive. And here we will simply go 42 not out. Okay, and let's test from ESPN data. So T20s 42, test 60. Okay, so this is a simple way of applying DAX. So we have used calculated strike rate with that, not out with that. Very simple formulas, very simple DAX expressions, but helping us to find out correct values. Next, we will use a donut chart here, and first we will simply apply setting here. Format painter, apply the same style. In donut chart, we will bring legend as match type, like which match type has he played. Okay. ODI T20 test, and here in values we will bring index, count of index. Okay, so this is sum of index, we will use count of index, and obviously values are very big here, so in detail labels we'll go and reduce values to 14 maybe. Okay, so this is telling us 98, 164, 350, and this is number of matches. Okay, and value decimal places and everything. So here is placed most ODIs, which is 350. We can confirm also ODI 350 matches. So this simple donut chart is going to show us how many matches has he played for each type of match type. Okay, and count of index by match type, instead of that we will simply write count of matches by match type, not of matches by type. This will also do. Okay, or format also we can write whatever you want, you can put it here. When we are creating such type of categorical data charts, we can use a tree map also, which will show you value like this. Okay, you can also use a pie chart here. You can also use bar charts, stack bar, whatever you prefer. I prefer donut chart, so I'm just showing it like this. Now in this donut chart, because we are learning different styles also, so here when you will go to detail labels option, you can say inside. Obviously it is looking a little weird because percentage is also given. So if you don't want to show percentage, you can simply show data value. Okay, this will show you match, count of matches by type, and we can go to general tab, sorry, visuals, and legend position we can try bottom center. So this will give us more area to make it smaller, and then also we will be able to see like ODI blue 350, test orange 164. You can zoom it anytime to see it in detail. Next very important thing that we have is opposition. So and ground also, these are also categorical values, but here the number of values will be more, particularly in ground. So let's first select opposition, for example. So let's try to create a stacked column chart, and in a stacked column chart what we are trying to see, like against which opposition he has scored most runs. You can see it for different formats also. And obviously since we are doing exploratory analysis for the first time, so we are creating a single dashboard for all the stats. But what you can do, you can create three different dashboards, right? One for ODI, one for T20, one for test. So you can create one dashboard and then simply copy it three times and just remove the filters wherever they are applicable, and then you can create that also. It's your choice. But here we are learning different visuals. Then whatever you want to style, it's your choice. So here when we have selected a stacked column chart, this stacked column chart first on x-axis we will bring the team name, the opponent name. Okay, so it will be opponent name. On y-axis we will bring runs new. Okay, again which team has scored most runs. You can see versus Sri Lanka 3087 and so on. So first I will zoom it, later we will adjust it. So here we can see against Sri Lanka, he has scored most runs. Obviously, there are these teams like Netherlands, he has played less number of matches here. That's why the runs are also less. Now we also have some detailed values here. Okay, so because we have selected a stacked column, why I will show you. Here we also have a legend field. In legend, we will simply bring match type. Okay, and this will show you that by zooming. Obviously, he has scored most runs against Sri Lanka, but against Sri Lanka in ODIs, he has scored 2383 runs. In T20 213 and Test 491. Okay, and we will first of all we will simply copy the style here. So sum of runs by opposite match time. Obviously, this is not going to be runs new. This is runs by opposition. And match type we already know that obviously we have brought it as a filter. So runs by opposition. Okay, and we can go to the setting and disable some titles here. So obviously values will be there. We will disable title to make more space here. So we already know this is team name, and here also in y-axis also we have title. We'll disable it. We already know this is runs here. So we will this will give us more space for it. Okay. If you want, you can go to title and disable, reduce its size a little bit so that you can see the bars more clearly. Here also we can do something similar, and this is our runs by opposition. Anytime you can zoom it in detail and see. Obviously, it is too much is a compact space here, but what you can do, you can go to data labels and turn it on. In data labels you can go to value, you can reduce the size and show the values also. When you will zoom it, you will see like how many runs has it scored. Okay, let's see 9, and display units will be none. So here you can see two different values also. And as we have done here, what we can do else is in such cases we can bring something like top 5, top 2, something like that, right? So here we have opposition is all. Okay, so when you will go to opposition, you have filtering. We can also do top 5, for example, which are the top 5 oppositions in terms of runs for MS Dhoni. And by value, what value you are going to bring is runs. Okay, by runs and apply filter. So these are the top 5 teams in terms of runs for it. So you can here you can always write title like top 5 oppositions runs, whatever you want to write, right? And here when you will zoom it, you will see the values like Sri Lanka, England, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. And you can see he has made more runs against Australia in ODIs and 1660. But total runs, in terms of total runs, he has made more runs in test matches against England. So that is something that you can get from it. And as we created top 10 opposition by runs, we can also create another chart here. Obviously, I'm going to adjust the height because the type of graph that I am going to create here is clustered bar chart or a stack chart. And in its stack chart, instead of opposition, we are going to bring ground. So we will have information of top grounds right here. So instead of top 5, we can also bring top 10 grounds here because here we have the space. Opposition top 5 we will just remove, and here ground match type is all, sum is all. So ground we are going to select top and like his favorite grounds. Okay, so here we will write top 10, and by value in terms of runs, obviously where he has either he has made most runs or where either he has played most matches, you can do that. So if you want to do by playing most matches, you can bring index here, but I am going to bring by in terms of runs, apply filter. So these are the top 10 grounds. Mirpur, in Mirpur in ODIs he has scored for 591 runs, and total number of runs is also more. Nagpur, Chennai, Mohali, Eden Gardens. And here you simply write favorite ground, top grounds in terms of runs. Okay, this is top 10 grounds. Obviously, we have less space here, so we'll simply write top 10 grounds. Obviously, in some cases, we have to zoom a little bit. And actually, when we will publish this report to either Power BI server or to Power BI service, then people will be able to see it in a more interactive way. But we are trying to put as much data as we can in one dashboard so that all his stats are visible here, what are given. And one more thing is there, because I have reduced the height a little bit. So when you are trying to create something like this, obviously ribbon chart is not the best thing to use here, but I'm just showing you that we can also see ribbon chart here. So in ribbon chart, what happens is you will see his performance because we know this is ODI, right? So against Sri Lanka, ODI is higher. Against England, ODI is slightly lower than what he has done against Australia and so on. So you can see the performance ratio was also. So this is also a type of chart that you can use here. Now, one more important thing is his performance over the years. So we also have a date column, which is in the format like given here, a short date format. So whenever a date format is given, we have a hierarchy. So we have something like year here. Okay. So we are going to create a simple area chart here. In area chart, we will try to analyze his performance over the years. So let's keep the height like this. In area chart, in x-axis we are going to bring years, and on y-axis sum of total runs. Let's see what we get. So you can see sum of runs by year. Okay, you can see his peak was around 2008 2009 in terms of sum of runs. Now this is sum of runs for all type of formats. So why we have selected area chart here? Because in area chart we can also bring a legend. In legend we can bring the categorical variable, and that is the match type for us. Okay, so this is match type, and now we have information of match type wise. Let's zoom it. So why we are seeing orange here because in 2014 he may have stopped playing test matches. That's why for orange we have that. But he continued playing ODI and T20 matches, as you can see. And his best performing year was for ODI was 2009, where he scored 1198 runs, and for test matches it was 2010. So around 2008, 2010, 2011 we won World Cup also because of his brilliant innings. So we can see uh, we have this data. So sum of new runs by year in match type. We will simply simplify this. So we will simply write runs by year in different formats, are not necessary. This is runs by year. We already know it is in different formats. Next is he has also played matches at different positions. 7 being his favorite position, we know that. But you can see from the data that he has played at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and obviously there are places where DNB is there, not needed to bat. So for these different positions, we want to see how many runs has he scored. Okay, so for that also we can bring a clustered column or a stat column chart, and here on x-axis we will bring position. Position is all, we will not select DNB. Sorry, we actually did opposite. We'll select all but DNB. Okay, so we have all positions here, and on y-axis we will see number of runs he made. Okay, let's simply copy, format, enter, and you can see here also uh, in this case we can see at sixth position he has made most runs across all formats, and here also we can bring the match type as column here. So this will give us indication like in ODIs at 6th position 4.2 K runs, 5th position 3.2 runs, at 7th position in test matches actually 2.9 K runs. Okay, so you can see his performance, like 6 and 7 are his definitely his favorite spots, and at 5th position in test he has less number of runs. Obviously number of matches will also be a factor, so this is something you can select. If this is too much to analyze, so you can also select the stacked one or this type of chart. Okay, this will also give you a clear indication. This is sum of runs, so we'll simply use runs by position. Okay, so at 6 ODI is highest, at 7 test is highest. What I have done here is I have simply brought these cards here so that I can shift this a little bit upwards so that we have more space for these charts, because these are important charts and reading them properly will be very important. So we can simply use this space, and obviously by adjusting the width and style a little bit, now we have a simple dataset. If you want to bring your filters to this data, so obviously we have a space on top that we can use as filter. Let's say we shift the heading towards left, so we have this space. For filters we use slices. We have done this in previous examples also many times, and we will just use these slices like this. First, try to adjust the width and height of your slicer, because you have to show some label also, right? So we will select this. In field, one thing that I want to select is year, because obviously I want to see his performance over the years. And here in title, we can select year. Okay, we have to do a lot of settings here because space is tight, but yeah. So here you can see starting and ending year. Values we can reduce a little bit, and let me adjust. So obviously we can adjust this. Sometimes it needs a lot of settings to just adjust it as per your liking, but we can adjust the height and width like this, or just disable the title and like this. In slicer setting you have different type of things, like if you want to show as a drop down, you can show as a drop down. Okay, if you are showing as a drop down, obviously you have more space here. And here in slicer settings, slicer header, we can make the value bold and as per our theme color. Border, background, nothing, but I will enable the shadow. Here I will enable the visual border, this radius as 12 pixel, not so much rounded. So this is going to be my border. So let's adjust its height. Yeah, this is year. Okay, we can also enable a little bit of background here or a little bit of transparency, whatever you want. For example, if you are selecting this and in your effects background, you can enable a little bit of transparency, okay, so that it blends the background. So here we have year. For example, we want to see for 2007. So you can see for 2007 number of runs, ODIs, tests, T20, strike rate, everything for the year 2007. Similarly, we will just copy this, and here we are going to bring another categorical value, and that categorical value can be round, that can be opposition, that can be position. So let's bring opposition here. So we have this, right? So these are two simple filters that we are going to use. For example, if you want to see again his performance against Australia in 2007, so you can see the data. All years against Australia, you can see. Against Australia, he has made 69 and 60 runs. Runs by position, you can see. In ODI 6, in test matches also at 6 position, and count of matches also 17 matches. So here we have match type and count of intent. So he has played around 37 test matches, 55 ODI matches, and 17 T20. So you can see the performance and everything, number of runs, test runs, strike rate by opposition and by year. But one last thing we can do, we can increase the values a little bit. Header is not needed, but values, yes. 13 and bold particularly. Same here. So now we have these values and the oppositions. Let's deselect all. So this is first part of our MS Dhoni stats analysis. Obviously we will try to bring more proper visuals than this. This was just the first part. So we tried our best to fit in everything, whatever we could. And just a minute. Yeah. So in the next part, we will try to create visuals. Let's say we want to see team-wise performance in a better way, so we can do that. Or here we are showing too many things, like we are showing every match type. So as I said earlier, we can also create different dashboards for different formats. So I hope you like this tutorial and you learned something new from it. If you did, please subscribe to our channel, and we bring Power BI data analysis related tutorials every day. So if you will subscribe, you will find more valuable information. Thanks once again. Have a nice day.